Derek Carr is in an interesting spot because clearly the Raiders don't want him there anymore. He's at this lame Pro Bowl competition. He wins the passing precision challenge or whatever the hell they're calling it there now. And he was interviewed by Ryan Clark afterwards of ESPN, and this is how it sounded.
Listen, Derek, you've thrown touchdown passes in Vegas before. You've been on fire. Have you ever been that hot in Las Vegas?
Not that hot. It's probably why I'm going somewhere else.
So he's taking a little dig there, and then
did you see his facial expression after he said it?
Yeah,
it was kind of hard to read.
Then the conversation turned to what is the plan moving forward, because he's got this February 15th deadline to where he's due a lot of money, and the Raiders have to make a decision, and will they get a trade done by then, or is he either potentially being released, et cetera, et cetera. Here was Carr talking about his current status with the team.
Well, I have a no trade clause, and there's a date that certain money's guaranteed, or I'm a free agent. So I'll just be honest about the whole thing. There has been conversations with, Dave and my agent and me, and we'll figure that out. But for me, I'm just being patient. I'm going to do what's best for myself. I'm going to do what's best for my family, and don't care about what the optics are or anything like that. I can pick this or do that. I can do it. It's kind of fun to be able to do whatever you want for once, and so I'm just going to be patient and not trying to hurt anybody, not trying to get by on anything. I'm just going to do the right thing for me and my family at the end of the day.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, and he's not going to help out the Raiders at all. So that's what you get, Berto.
That's not what he said.
Yeah.
See, that's like what happened in the first segment.
He can extend.
That's not what he said.
He can extend the deadline past February 15th.
He said he's not trying to get over on anything or anybody. Like he's just waiting for what's best for him.
He ain't helping them out.
He should.
I also didn't take the first comment to be a shot at the Raiders. It kind of was like
a shot at him. Yeah, it was a shot at himself. Yeah.
That's how I took it.
I agree.
I don't know why. Jonas, did you take it different?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you take it?
I took it as.
Let's go back and listen to the clip.
All right, let's listen.
I don't know how you took that any differently.
Listen, Derek, you've thrown touchdown passes in Vegas before. You've been on fire. Have you ever been that hot in Las Vegas?
Not that hot. It's probably why I'm going somewhere else.
How'd you take that?
If I said that, I'd be fined $10. That was a passive-aggressive shot at the Raiders.
I don't know that was
going somewhere else
passive-aggressive.
because he's never been that hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys just aren't as good at reading people like I am.
You might be right.
Yeah.
I mean, there could
passive-aggressive.
I mean, you are passive-aggressive at times.
$10.
So you might understand it a little better.
I've got intel in the situation.
You might understand it a little better. I thought he was taking a shot at himself. If I had thrown the ball better or gotten that hot, I'd still be I was about to say 49.
He's kind of that kind
I'd still
of
be
guy
a Raider.
Too,
Yeah. I mean,
at least he comes off as that.
Well, point being, he's not going to be a Raider anymore. So what the hell are they doing?
He's his 2023 salary and the $7.5 million of the 2024 salary becomes fully guaranteed the day after Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So
what
that's
a nice
where
gift.
The question is someone willing to pay? He's going to make $32.9 this upcoming season, plus that 7.5. So we're talking about roughly over $40 million. Is someone going to be willing to take that on? Or are the Raiders going to, in lieu of a trade, right? Like they might have to say, we're willing to guarantee this because we've got a trade partner who's willing to pay it, or we'll pay a portion of it in exchange back for whatever draft picks we're looking for. That's typically how these conversations go. I mean, everything's negotiable, and even though it's a big number that guarantees, someone might look at that and say, well, hell, it's going to be less than a lot of quarterbacks are making. We feel like he's a starter quality quarterback. We're willing to trade for that right now. I mean, Woody Johnson's already put it out there that sky's the limit for whatever veteran they bring in. So that $40 million for Derek Carr is going to be at least $10 million less than what you're going to have to pay Aaron Rodgers, maybe more.
I'm curious as to being this close. Isn't that next week? Is that next week? It's right after the Super Bowl. It's right after Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's 12 days.
12 days.
I think it's 12 days.
And listen, deals get done quick, right? I mean, it's not like you need oh my gosh, we're at 12 days. It's not going to be able to get done. Deals get done very quickly. Like generally speaking, they get done pretty last minute. I'm just curious when you have that type of intel, knowing that there's a no trade clause, like you still have to maintain a relationship with Carr on this, because Carr could be like, nope, don't want to do it, to all of them, right? And then what? Then they have to cut him. Now, if they cut him, that bonus that's due to him, they got to pay. They have to pay a portion of it, or is it
not if they cut him before that?
If
date.
they cut him before the date, see, so it's like one of those final roster spot bonuses type deals. Okay, so how much do they have to pay him if they have to cut him?
Nothing. The only thing that would count against them is $5.6 million against their dead cap.
That's
money
and that's not
paid.
a lot. That's
not
not
a lot at all. In fact, if they made it a post-June 1 designation, they could cut that number in half over the next 2 years.
They would like more time to be able to get a trade done and get something in return.
Well, I'll say this:
and
if
he's
it's
not playing the game,
if it's a post-June, designation, then they got to keep him. They
don't have to keep him until June.
They don't have to keep him until June.
No, that's not how it works. So it's kind of like a signing bonus where if I'm signing you to a contract, LaVar, and I want to pay you a $60 million signing bonus over 5 years, right? You get that money up front. But for the accounting purposes of it, right, we're going to pay you $12 million each of those years.
You back end it.
Yeah, and then that's the number that counts against the salary cap, not the $60 million that we're providing you right up front.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to the dead cap hit. The money's been paid out. That's why it's dead cap. So it's already been paid out to him. Now they just spread it over the next 2 years.
I get it. Well, then they're going to have to cut him. They're going to have to cut him. And now let me ask you this: when they cut him, is there waivers involved in this type of cutting? Does he have to clear waivers?
No, I don't believe so. Because at that point, he wouldn't be subject to it. That's usually off like the rookie deal. But here's the interesting thing, because Jonas just said something. When you do a deal like this, clearly Derek Carr and his crew knew what they were doing. That's why they picked the date they did. This is actually really smart on his part, because now he actually gets a jump on free agency.
Free agency, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get that part.
It's smart as hell, because they foresaw, like, hey, guess what? The Super Bowl is probably going to move back a week, but if we can do this 2 weeks prior to or 3 weeks prior to free agency started, or the new league year starting of the NFL, like, someone's going to get a first crack at you to be able to sign you if you're a free agent to a big deal, or trade for you before you have to worry about all the other stuff that goes on once March hits and the new league year starts. Yep. So I actually love this for his agent, for himself, as far as the timeline, because it forces the team to have to make a quick decision. And I think in the end, like, he's not gonna, he's gonna be the one that benefits from it ultimately. Because even if, let's say, for example, he's scheduled to make 32.9 this year in base salary, he's gonna get at least that in a signing bonus. I don't know what he's gonna make in a salary as average annual value, but signing with a new team, he'll easily get $32 million up front. Like, he's probably gonna get double that, if not more, if he gets released. So this is a great setup as far as the timing of these mechanisms and when they kick in. I would think other agents and players are going to try to do this, and every other team's going to be like, not a chance. Like, we're never going to do a window like that again.